Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Faiz Putra. I'm from class 3B. Here I will do the midterm assignment for academic speaking course. For the topic I chose is human trafficking. So here I will present to you a brief explanation about human trafficking. Of course, this presentation, this PowerPoint made by me. So let's start my presentation. So the first, we need to know what is human trafficking. What human trafficking is. Human trafficking is the recruitment, transportation, transfer, harboring, or receipt of people through force, fraud, or deceptions with the aim of exploiting them for profit. There is for the word recruitment, transportation, and transfer. We really common with that word, right? In legal way, there are many legal ways to recruit people, to transport people, to transfer people. But in illegal way, there is human trafficking to this. They're doing it with power through force, forcing people, deceiving people with the aim to exploiting them for profit. Okay, so next, after we know the definition of human trafficking, we're gonna jump right into the human trafficking forms. There are actually many human trafficking forms, but here I present you some of them, which we usually cover, we usually know in the news. The news usually show this news, this kind of human trafficking, these forms of human trafficking. So the first is human trafficking for forced labor. It's actually the victim in this human trafficking take it at first the culprit, the traffickers, gives them promises, gives them sweet promises. Uh, Even the promise is too good to be true because they do a simple job and get a big payment to their job. And usually, the victims of human trafficking comes from a poor family or developing country, which has economical issue. Um, There are also people that become a victim of human trafficking comes not from a poor family and don't have any economic issue, but the way the traffickers deceive them, the way the trafficker uh, use the reason to recruit them illegally is can make them a victim of human trafficking. So for the forced labor, it's usually the victims can be engaged in agricultural, mining, fisheries, or construction work, along with domestic servitude and other labor-intensive jobs. And for the second is human trafficking in women for sexual exploitation. Here, it's not only women, but also there are children, not just grown-up women, but there are also children being victim in the human trafficking forms. The method the trafficker use in this sexual exploitation and forced labor usually the same, actually the same. They use sweet promises at first that the victim will have a better life overseas, but end up being a slave, being a sexual slave for people that treat them usually inhuman, and the victims get a constant terror from the traffickers, from the people who use them. It's really sad. There are a lot of news talking about human trafficking in women for sexual exploitation, not only for an adult grown up woman, but there are childs doing the job. It's very really sad. And for the third is trafficking for forced criminal activities. This form of trafficking allows criminal networks to reap the profits of a variety of illicit activities without the risk. There are many illegal companies doing that, doing drugs, and for this human trafficking, they usually invite them and give them just a pinch of the payment. Just they expect the victim expect to be paid big, but the company did not give them big. Even they treat them. Uh, like inhuman, just as the woman for sexual exploitation, um, human trafficking for forced criminal activities can include theft, drug cultivation, selling counterfeit goods, or forced begging. Victims often have quotas and can face severe punishment if they do not perform adequately. So if they do not reach the quotas that had been setting for them, the traffickers, the people that they work for, will punish them badly. They will have a severe punishment, human punishment, to the victims. And after we knew about what the human trafficking is and the form of human trafficking, how it suffer a lot of people, we as the community fight human trafficking. Well, first, we as the community have to be well informed about human trafficking. So with this presentation, I also giving you the information, a brief information about human trafficking. You can also search and from another resources. There are a lot of resources from the internet you can search too. Not only we are being well informed, but if we already well informed about human trafficking, we should share our knowledge about human trafficking. Why is it wrong? Its nature, its manifestation, but the manifestation of human trafficking, the forms of human trafficking. Why is it bad? If we already knew that thing about human trafficking, we should share our knowledge to people. We should let other people know uh, how bad is human trafficking, how much people suffered from human trafficking. There are a lot of cases bring up by the media about human trafficking around the world. And for the second, taking proactive action to help fight human trafficking within one's scope. For me, me as the college student, I have the capability to share to people. I have the capability to search, to be easily well informed about human trafficking and use social media, use internet to share my knowledge about human trafficking. For the other example is for the teacher, they can also give their student that fulfills knowledge about human trafficking. The earlier you know about human trafficking, the less children underage will be a victim of human trafficking. So everyone can be the part to fight human trafficking, not only the government, not only the big company to fight the human trafficking. And number three is understanding that everyone is capable of discovering human trafficking situation if they learn to identify the indicators of human trafficking and potential trafficking situation. The link I put it below the text is the picture come from the Interpol. There are two pages of this picture that give the indicators of human trafficking. Each human trafficking forms has its own indicators. There are general indicators of human trafficking, like if you see people doing their job, like they feel anxious, they look anxious, they look to be fear, and the people they work with is pushing them, giving them such a ridiculous punishment if they're doing something bad. You should be aware, you should be suspicious to them if this woman is being forced to do the job, or is it just voluntarily they're doing the job. There are many indicators that showing uh, human trafficking. So if we knew that, we can prevent human trafficking even before it happened or after they happen. Uh, we can report it to the police or the government. Well, after we know the forms, how we fight as the community, of course, the definition of human trafficking, we can jump to a conclusion that this human trafficking is one of the dirtiest business that human race been doing it for so long, and the community even for that long still cannot stop human trafficking. But it doesn't mean we should ignore any kind of human trafficking around us. Instead, we should be more aware. because if more people aware about human trafficking, then the traffickers will have small space for them to do human trafficking. This human trafficking is been so long, even in the Middle Age, even in the like first century, there are already exists this human trafficking. But because it's been exist for so long and we cannot vanish the human trafficking, it doesn't mean we just should ignore it and um, treat it as like, yeah, it is what it is now. We need to fight human trafficking. We need to give people knowledge. We need more aware people about human trafficking to fight this human trafficking. Okay, that's all from my presentation about human trafficking. Thank you for listening. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.